One of the coolest features of Pantec's interface is its unique lock screen here. We've got a number of different shortcuts that allow you to unlock the phone itself, or you can change your sound settings, or you can jump into popular applications. Now, if you take this lock key and move it over from left to right, it will unlock the phone as expected. And if you do the opposite move, if you take this icon here and move it right to left, it switches from ring to silent mode. So you can quickly turn off your audible ringtones. Then down at the bottom, we've got shortcuts that launch our dialer. So you can drag our icon up into the circle. It will launch us directly to the dialer. Or we can launch our SMS application. And we can even launch our email application directly from the lock screen, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately, you can't change those icons, so if you wanted to switch that email icon for the Gmail app, or if you use a different messaging app, you're not able to change those out. So they are static as they are. If we take a look at Pantec's messaging application, we've got your pretty familiar looking Android SMS application, but you've got threaded messaging as we'd expect to see. Nice little stylized bubble icons there. Pantec has customized the standard gingerbread keyboard with a custom overlay or custom skin, as you can see. It's a little bit of more of a bubbled look than the standard squared off keyboard that we expect to see on most gingerbread phones. In addition, you can switch to the swipe keyboard if you prefer that. And we've got the newer version of swipe that gives you your suggestions in a row across the top of the letters as opposed to a pop-up window. If we take a peek at Pantec's email application, you've got a email application that supports multiple inboxes, so you can have more than one account going on if you'd like. You can shrink or hide messages like so. You can also manage multiple messages at once, as you can see, which is pretty cool. Features formatted text. You can double tap to zoom, and you can also pinch to zoom. And of course you can read your messages in landscape as well. If you take a look at the browser found on the Pantec Breakout, you can see that Pantec has customized the standard Android browser with a few more options. Hit the menu button, you can see the menu is slightly different for your standard options. We can manage multiple windows. Let's open up our Mobile Burn website here, and you can see loaded our mobile version first. And it's loaded loading the full version of the website, and you can see here we've got Flash ads going on and embedded Flash video, so it does support Adobe Flash Player right out of the box, which is nice to see. You've got fairly capable performance on the browser. Scrolling isn't quite as smooth as you might see on a higher-end smartphone with a dual-core processor, but it certainly gets the job done. You can double tap to zoom, and you can also pinch to zoom as well, and you can browse the web in landscape. So we can load our embedded Flash video there.
Hey guys,
There
this
we
is
go.
Dan Seifer with MobileBurn.
So that does work. Certainly not the fastest experience. The Pantec Breakout does only have a 1 GHz single core processor, so it's not quite as high powered as some of the dual core processor phones that we've seen on the market, but browsing certainly can get the job done. If we pop open the camera on the Breakout, you can open it with our camera key on the side here. As we mentioned earlier, we've got a 5 megapixel camera that can record 720p video. It does autofocus, however you cannot tap to autofocus. And if you hold the shutter key down, it will not autofocus before it takes a shot. You can only press the shutter key, it will then autofocus and then take the picture. So it's a little bit backwards than what we're used to seeing from most Android phones that allow you to hold the shutter key down to pre-focus your shot and then release it if you don't like the focus on there. There you go, you can see it again. Now it obviously gives you an instant review of your picture. You can't pinch to zoom in the instant review like you can on most phones, but Pantec does give you this button here that gives you a zoom slider so you can zoom in and out on the image itself. we go back to our camera interface, we can hit the menu key. You got a couple different options for various settings. You can control zoom, you can control your brightness, change your function settings here for autofocus and scene modes and stuff like that. You can change modes to single shot, instant shot, multi-shot, and division shot. And then you've got more settings for your resolution, your scenes, and your various settings there. If we go back here, oops, let's open that back up. Got an option to switch between the rear 5 megapixel camera and the front VGA camera. And then you also have the option to switch over to video. And you have some settings with the video as well, and you can choose the 720p video recording. Let's start the button, you can record. Doesn't appear to have continuous autofocus. It does record there. Then you can play back your video after recording. Start the button, record. Doesn't appear to have continuous autofocus. It does record there. So there you have it. That's a quick look at the Pantec Breakout for Verizon Wireless. The Breakout is the first LTE smartphone to be released in the US by Pantec, and it's the first LTE smartphone from Verizon Wireless that comes in at under $100 when you're signing a new contract. Just as a quick overview of the features, we've got a 4-inch WVGA screen, about a 12mm thick or 11.9mm thick body. It's powered by a 1 GHz single-core Qualcomm processor. There's a front-facing VGA camera, and around back we've got a 5 megapixel autofocus camera, but it does not have a flash, though it does record 720p video. The Pantec Breakout is put together pretty well. The build quality is very solid, as you can see, and there doesn't seem to be any creaks or cracks in the actual build of the phone itself, so it does feel nice in your hand. And the 4-inch screen size is a nice, refreshing break from the larger screens that we've seen in the past, and from every other LTE device for that matter. You can pick this up now from Verizon Wireless. It costs about $99.99 with a new 2-year agreement. And there you have it. It's Pantec Breakout for Verizon Wireless. This is Dan Seifert from MobileBurn.com.